my name is Zach with the movie Castle, and today I'm going to be talking to you about 47 Meters Down from 2017, directed by Johannes Roberts and starring Mandy and Claire Holt. Now, this one I missed during its initial theatrical run. I saw the trailers and I was like, so-so shark movie, and I was a lot busier back then. However, this year, 47 Meters Down Uncaged is coming out, and it's coming out in August, and August 2019, there is not that much going on in the theaters, and I was like, dang, what's out this August? And there is some. I'll probably wind up seeing like 3 or 4 movies, but not much in the theaters this August, so I went down to Walmart. 47 Meters Down, the original, was in the $3.74 bin, and I was like, hey, watch it, then I can watch the sequel, and then I get to go to the movies one more time in August, because there is not much out this August. So anyway, this movie, it stars these 2 girls who are in a vacation in Mexico, and one of the girls' boyfriends doesn't show up, and she eventually tells her sister it's because they broke up. So the sister decides they need to be more adventurous, get out there more, and do something, you know? So they go out, you know, to a club, they meet these 2 guys, and they start to become really good friends with these guys, and they say, hey, you want to be adventurous? What if you go cage diving with some sharks? They know a guy who's got a boat, and they're a little apprehensive, but they go on, and you probably know by the title, by the advertising, what all happens next. The rope to the cage breaks, they fall down 47 meters, and unfortunately they are surrounded by sharks, very, very hungry sharks. Now, there's a bit to say about this movie. The early part of the movie really lacks a clear tone. I mean, they go to this club, and this weird upbeat, like, poppy music starts playing, and I was like, wait, is this supposed to be scary? Maybe make the club seem ominous, you know? And it seemed at the beginning things were kind of bright, a little bit like a Lifetime movie, and every now and then one of the girls would get a little scared of like a concept, not like a jump out scare, but it's like, oh, cage diving, I don't know. And then when they get in the water, the tone's more clear, you know, and if they had decided, okay, it's going to be upbeat and cheery, and then they get in the water, the tone's going to change, or if they decided, hey, it's going to be ominous leading up to what eventually happens, and it's going to be all scary. But it just seemed weird at the beginning, but luckily the beginning doesn't last too long, and they get in the water quite quick. And when they get in the water, it becomes a survival story more than a horror movie. Now, there is some horror elements, but this is a case of, what would you do? How would you get out? And they do a good job of saying, here's the situation, how are they going to get out of the situation? They're in a cage, and, oh, there's a bar on top of the cage. How are they going to get out of the cage and move the bar? And, yeah, okay, they got the bar, how do they get the right leverage, you know? And there is things like that that really do make this a good survival movie more than a good horror movie. And there's a bunch of stuff like that, and I do have to give it major props, because once they go in the water, they actually stay in the water. Now, a lot of filmmakers would have been very tempted to say, okay, they're trapped in a cage, I don't know if we can squeeze a full 90 minutes out of that. What if we did flashbacks or cuts to the people on the boat that are trying to help them? But no, it's all them in the water, and every now and then they'd hear someone on the radio from up top, but it stays in the water, which does a really good job, because even though you might get some interesting story elements, ultimately if you took the camera out of the water, you would take the audience out of that trapped underwater feeling. They wouldn't feel as confined in the water, you know? So that I have to give it a really good props for. Um, However, there is, even underwater, quite a few faults. Now, obviously, I don't think you can really get a guy with a boom mic underwater, so they recorded a lot of ADR, and sometimes it's kind of obvious that, you know, it's someone talking over the movie, a recording, but also just, boy, is there a lot of it. Characters will constantly be saying what they're doing and being like, I'm gonna try this, which I guess I get, but beyond just, I'm gonna try moving the bar, I'm really doing it, I'm doing this, you know, and they just keep talking about what they're doing, and I'm like, okay, I don't know if we needed that much narration, and every now and then they swim up just high enough to hear the people on the boat, because they're kind of out of radio range, but they swim up a little bit, they can hear them, and whenever they talk to the guy on the boat, it is a whole bunch of exposition and a whole bunch of, here's your objectives, you should do this, and it gets to be a little campy, and of course there's a little bit of plot problems, you know, obviously the sharks behave in a much more monstrous and unrealistic way, and you know, a lot of shark movies do this, you know, even Jaws is guilty of this, but Jaws did a bunch of build-up as to, this is the monster shark. In this movie, it's just, hey, there's sharks, they're going nuts, you know. And, you know, there's things like they're talking to someone that should totally be in radar range, and they, radio range, and they can't hear them, and there's weird little things like that. But overall, it's still passable. This isn't by any means a great movie, and I was actually expecting a little bit more from it, because it is a movie that had gotten a sequel, and it is a movie that, when it came out, I heard a few people, quite a bit, talking about it, but it's so-so, you know, and I've seen lots of these, you know, creature features, and, you know, it's fine, but it's not, I thought, okay, there's got to be something a little better to this than the other things, you know, like, I had actually, to this movie's detriment, I had just seen Crawl, you know, a few weeks ago, and Crawl was one of those creature features that actually went well above and beyond, you know, great director and producer, and it just went crazy, and it was great, and I thought, okay, this is a creature feature that people are talking about, this got to be pretty good, right? And it's fine, but it's not that great. I do have to hand it to them that for such a limited setting, like never leaving the ocean, that they were able to somehow make it not be completely boring, because there's so many of these low-budget trapped movies where it's like, hey, we're trapped somewhere and you just sit there and you feel every minute of the runtime, and they avoided that problem. Even if it isn't the best thing ever, still they avoided making a boring movie, which I give them props to that. I'd actually heard a rumor, and I looked it up after I saw the movie, and this was going to be called In the Deep, and it was going to be released direct to DVD, and then they just thought, hey, you know, we can make more money if we did a theatrical run, I think this is good enough, let's go and do a theatrical campaign, and, you know, it's good enough, yeah, sure, it's not the best theater movie, it's pretty good for some of those DTV movies. I mean, there's some really good DTV video that you're like, man, that should have gotten to the theaters, but there's a lot of it that you're like, okay, I get it. Yeah, it's good enough, and sharks, people watch it, and they did, it made more money. But that being said, when you find out it was originally a DTV movie, you're like, okay, that makes sense. But anyway, it's fine, and I hear the sequel's a little better, so there's nothing on in August. I'll show up. I'll watch the sequel. I might even be seeing the sequel today, right after I do this video, so, when I cover all the movies I watch theatrically in August, keep a lookout for 47 Meters Down, Uncaged. Anyway, next time, speaking of, things I found in Walmart, Rock, Paper, Scissors. This is directed by Tom Holland, the guy who made Child's Play, not Spider-Man, the other Tom Holland. Anyway, hadn't heard anything about this, haven't seen it yet. I'm going to put this into the DVD player, and see what Tom Holland brings me. Rock, paper, scissors is up next. Anyway, guys, have a good day. I'll see y'all later.